Hello all, my name is Dylan, or DNOT. In this BT-12 format, I have not seen anyone upload a Crossheart deck profile for the format. We didn't get Crossheart, didn't get much in set 12, but it did get a big player in the form of Superior Mode. And there's some other little Crossheart stuff here and there, like the 2 Warmons and the U's, but don't run those. You can run the King version like I am in this list. And so we will just go over the list I'm running for this format. I'm pretty content with this list. I went 3-1 last night at locals with this, so I'm content with this list. Let's get through the deck profile. Starting with eggs, of course. You run the 4 Pikmons. You don't run any other eggs. Pikmons that you go to. Crossheart on attack if he has Crossheart, and traits draw. It's your go-to egg. There's no reason to. I am looking to get 3 more of the tournament pack Pikmons, so I would eventually like to max rarity this deck, although that'll probably take a while. Now we are running 4 of the King of the Digital World, 4 of BT-10 Shoutmon. Not BT-12, don't run BT-12, it's not useful. But no, he can Digivolve for 0 on top of a level 2 Crossheart. On play, reveal top 3, add a Crossheart, Digimon, and Tamer. And then he has Save, and then Inheritable. If the Digimon on top of him has Shoutmon in its name, it gains Rush, which is very important. It is very important. Next level 3 we play is 4 Starmons. Starmon is another. Really, you max out all of the Crossheart pieces, such as Starmons or Sparrowmons, Ballista, and Darulu. You typically max out on these 4 or these 5, because all of your Digicrosses do require them. In the case of Shoutmon, Cross 7 does not require him, but it does require these 4. But every other Digicross kind of requires Shoutmon. So you run 4 as well, and he's your searcher. Every Digicross requires these. You need to run 4 of them. Darulu is good for popping off stuff like Gazis or Psychmons, stopping you from reducing your play costs. So Darulu is really good for that. The Ballista is a blocker. Sparrowmon is a 5k attacker, which is very strong. Like I said, Ballista's a blocker. Starmon's doesn't do much. He has the same inheritable as Pikmon's, except if it's a Shoutmon, you draw a card. So there's a lot of draw power in the deck. Now we will go into our other things that are not Digicrosses, but they are important for the Digicrosses, such as one of them we run is King version, not the BT-10 secret rare. I don't like the BT-10 secret rare in the deck. It's nice, but it's not too important. I like running the 1 of King version. I tested 2, but I think 1 is just the perfect amount. He's great because you can Digicross, so you can use Shoutmon, give it Rush, so it's another Rush Digicross, so you can still hit your opponent on that turn. And then on play, you can play a Taiki for free, and Digicross is 3, so really you're getting in your board presence, you're plussing 1 because you pay 3, play this, and then you play Taiki for free. That's 2, and then you get the search off Taiki, and then you can Rush with Shoutmon. On deletion, save, and then you can save a card with save and its text from trash, so you can grab a lot of your other Crosshearts that have hit the drop. And then 2, what I like to call bricks. I wish I didn't have to run these cards because they are very bricky. Omni Shoutmon and Zeeg Greymon. Sorry about that. Omni Shoutmon and Zeeg Greymon. These cards are very bricky. I wish I didn't have to run them. They are only in here because they are Digicross requirements. Well, I can't say that. So Zeke Greymon has won me a game last night, and the fact that I Digivolved on top of Cross 5 and was able to win the game off his unsuspend effect. But other than that, they are just here for Digicross requirements. You don't go into them. Again, if I didn't have to run them, I would not be running them. Omnishoutmon, you don't go into him. His deletion effect isn't great. I believe it adds up to 2. Yeah, you can delete 2 4K or less. It's not great. Zeeg is definitely the better of the two because if you do have to go into him, he unsuspends and gets you 2 memory. So really, he's Digivolving for 1 on top of a red level 5. So he's not horrible, but he's definitely better than Omnishoutmon. And of course, he gives your Cross 7 blocker, which is very good. It's very good. And the last Digimon that's not a Digicross that I run at 1 is 1 Mervamon. This card is interesting. I have tried it at 2. I've tried it at 3, and I just feel like 1 is pretty decent because you don't necessarily need the Mervamon in the deck. It's a nice option, but Digicrossing for 8 can be detrimental in this format when you have stuff like Hunters and Wargrey and Ulforce, honestly, that thrive off having a lot of memory. Digicrossing for 8 is not amazing. It is really good on a game where you haven't hit a lot of your things, but you have like a Cross 3 and a Shout and drop. You can play the Merva and pull the Shout and the Cross 3 out for more searching. That's the main thing I use it for, or if I desperately need blockers, I can do this to pull more out of trash. But the 1 is just fine. Honestly, you could drop the King version for a second one of her if you really want to, or vice versa, drop her for a second King version. It's entirely personal preference, but I have found very good results with just the 1 of, especially with how deep your deck can dig. You're gonna see Mervamon. All right, now for the Digicrosses. So I am running for a level 3, 1 Shoutmon plus Star Sword. I've tried 2. I think 1 is just right. He's good for wiping out rookies. He can get rid of memory chokers, like, again, Psychmon, Gazimon, Solarmon, all of them. He can get rid of them, get rid of rookies, and he counts as Shoutmon and Starmons when Digicross requirements, so he's pretty nice. Now, a card that I've been testing ratios with, but I think this is the right amount. 3 Cross 3s. I've tried 4, I've tried 2. The deck is so tight right now that I think 3 is just fine. Because with this and the Shoutmon, you're running, and the Taikis, really, you are running 11 Searchers. So you're pretty decent. You have a wide array of Searchers. He costs 7 Digicross for Shoutmon, Darulumon, and Ballistamon, 2 each, so usually you play him for 1. On play, check top 3, add 2 Cross Hearts or Blue Flare. And then as well, start of turn, you can delete him to gain a memory. He does have material save 2, so typically what I like to do if I'm going second and they put me to like 4, let's say, Digicross for or they put me to like 2. Don't use all 3 materials. Go into like Ballista and Darulumon and Digicross for 3. You get your search and the opponent's only at 1, and then start a turn you can delete him and save those two. So you're still fine. You got search. You plussed. You don't typically use all 3 material unless you are trying to push for game. Next, a card I would love to run 4 of, but you know we can't. Cross 4. I wish this card... I understand why. It is, if we want a healthy format, this card cannot be at anything other than 1. Digicross 4. He costs 9. Digicross with Shoutmon, Ballista, Darulu, and Stars. On play, you can draw 2, and then end of attack, you can delete him, unsuspend a Tamer, and save all 4 material. he shouldn't be at 4. As much as Crossheart players would love for him to be at 4, it makes sense why he's not. Then we are running. I feel very strongly about this ratio here. 2 cross 5s. I tried 3. It doesn't work. It's too cloggy. But cross 5 is still a strong card. He has Superior Attack +1, Blocker, and Material Save 3. Requires Shout, Ballista, Derulu, Star, and Sparrow. He's very strong. He's a blocker, so I mean, and you can Digicross for 0, so he's strong. Nothing really else to say about that. The real boss of the deck, kind of. We run 2 Shoutmon Cross 7s. This card can be put at 3 if you want to cut Superior Mode down to 1, but I am fine with the 2. He requires Omni Shout, Zeeg, Ballista, Derulu, Star, and Sparrow. He gets 1k DP for every 2 in source, so if you do the full Digivolution requirements, he'll cost 2 to play, and he'll have 16k DP, and he can on play he can delete something with DP greater than, or less than or equal to his own. He does have Rush inherently, so he makes up for the fact that Omni Shaman doesn't have Rush. He gives Security Attack +1. He's a good card. He's good for wiping things out, and he's a game ender. Not game ender per se. He can wipe out security, and he has Rush. All of your Digicrosses typically are going to be rushing. Cross 7 can be at 3. I'm content with 2 again because as much the deck digs, you are going to dig through your deck practically every turn. So 2 is just perfectly fine. Now another player preference is I am running 2 Cross 7 Superior Modes. This can be at 1. You do not need the 2. I, however, prefer the 2 because, worst case, they are both in security. They are still 17k bombs. That wipes out most things in this format. It wipes out Arrest Your Superior modes. I believe Quartzmon. I'll check real quick. Yeah, Quartzmon's 15. He wipes out Quartzmons. He wipes out Gallantmons, typically, depending on the inheritables. He wipes out War Greys, depending on the inheritables. And that's just off security. When you play him, you can shuffle, or you can put Digivolution sources on the bottom of your opponent's deck, then put that Digimon on bottom, so he wipes out boards, bypassing inheritables. He's very strong as well on attack. During your turn, when he checks security, he does not activate option cards. So he's there to end games. And alongside him, I'm running one of his option, Final Crossblade. You only need one of this. If it didn't cost 9, I would say run 2. But it costs 9. During your main, you can delete an opponent's Digimon and then unsuspend one of your superior modes and attack with it. It's very strong. It's a good way to end games, but you only need the one of it. 9 is just too hefty of a cost. It's just too hefty. Now on to the heart and soul of Crossheart. We are running 4 of its general Taiki Kudo. I have tested out the BT-12 Taiki. It does not work. None of the U or the Taiki from BT-12 don't particularly mesh well with the deck despite being Crosshearts. You could theoretically see a place. Theoretically. Just because he does give you a memory. But not really. It's kind of, like I said, the deck's really tight. If you can find space, work it in. But I think this is pretty optimal. But on play, real top 4. Add a card with Crossheart and trait to hand, and save a Digimon with Crossheart underneath Taiki. As well, of course, like all generals, you can suspend him when paying Digicross requirements to Digicross with cards underneath your Tamers. Then we run... These cards kind of go hand in hand. We run 3 Zenjiro, and we run 3 Akari. Akari, on play, you can play a Darulu from your hand or underneath one of your tamers. And Zenjiro, on play, you can play a Ballista from hand or underneath one of your tamers. Zenjiro is arguably a bit better late game, because when you play a Digimon, you can suspend him to gain a memory. Akari, when you play Digimon, you can suspend her to draw a card. It kind of depends. If you're not hitting your searchers, Akari is definitely better because you can dig even harder. But if you are seeing everything you need, Zenjiro is the better pick just because memory is memory. You can turn a Digicross for 2, cross 7 into really... If you have all 3 Zenjiros on board, you are plussing off playing that cross 7 by 1 memory. So it's Zenjiro can be a bit better. But Akari is not bad at all. Another card I've been testing with ratios, and the final card in the list is 2 Taiki, Kiriha, and Nene. I've tried it at 3, but I think 2 is just fine. Again, you dig really hard all the time. It is good for gaining memory and taking your bricks, like the Omni Shout and the Z Greymon, and putting it underneath and replacing it with other cards. It's very nice. It also has the general effect where you can suspend it to Digicross with cards underneath. If it wasn't 4 cost, I'd probably run it at more, but I understand why it is. But we only need 2 of it. Some things you can run in here. You can run the BT-10 memory setter Kiriha, but I haven't really had any problems with memory setting because your Digicrosses usually are very cheap. And again, you have Taiki, Kiriha, and Nene to get a memory start a turn. You have Zenjiro to get more memory when you play stuff. The memory setter isn't too important. But yeah, so that is the list. Again, I wanted to do this because I hadn't seen any BT-12 Crossheart lists uploaded anywhere. So I figured I may as well be the one. I've been playing Crossheart since Set 10. I'm very content with this list. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys try out the list and you have any luck with it or you suggest some changes, let me know. This will be the first video on this channel, so I'm always up to recommendations and I can always test stuff out and give my input on Crossheart. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.